In 2025, a Philippine court finally closed a case that had chased one man for almost 10 years. The claim, he owed nearly $56 million in unpaid taxes. Yes, $56 million. For a man worth $220 million, that's more than a quarter of everything he owns. But it happened to Manny Pacquiao, the same boxer who is the only man in history to win world titles in 8 different weight divisions. The same fighter the world calls Pac-Man. And the same athlete who earned an estimated $575 million during his career, making him one of the richest boxers in history. So how does a man with that much money end up fighting his own government for 9 straight years? And how does someone who made $130 million from a single fight also get hit with a separate $5.1 million court verdict in the United States over a deal that was supposed to make him even richer? That's the mystery we're going to uncover. There was a time when this man didn't even have a roof over his head. Today, that same man lives in a mansion worth over $30 million, inside a neighborhood so exclusive that only ambassadors and billionaires get to call it home. This is Manny Pacquiao, and over the next few minutes I'm going to tell you things you've probably never heard before: his real net worth, the full truth about his marriage, what his 5 children are doing today, his personal hobbies, where his money actually came from and where it all went, and the one thing that, even after all these millions, still won't let him sleep at night. Picture this: a 16-year-old boy dropping out of school for one reason only, because his family needed food on the table. He had no coach, no resources, no one looking out for him. All he had were his own 2 fists and the will to survive. Today, that same boy is the only boxer in history to win world titles in 8 different weight divisions. 8. A record that, to this day, no one else has ever broken. And what did that record actually pay him? According to estimates, over the course of his entire career, Pacquiao has earned somewhere between $575 million and $775 million from fights alone, not even counting endorsements. But one single night back in 2015 changed everything. When he stepped into the ring against Floyd Mayweather, that fight alone brought him $130 million, despite losing. His trainer, Freddie Roach, still says today that Pacquiao wasn't fully fit that night, and if he had been, the story might have ended very differently. That loss still lives in him, and this September, at 47 years old, he's stepping back into that very same ring, not for the money this time, but to finally finish a story that's been left unfinished for over a decade. But this isn't just a boxing story. It's the story of the mansions he built, one by one, across the Philippines and the United States. It's the story of Jinkee, the woman who stood beside him back when he had absolutely nothing. It's the story of their 5 children, now studying in London and Chicago, places their father never once dreamed he'd send them to. So the real question isn't how rich Manny Pacquiao is. The real question is, can money actually give him the one thing he wants most? Let's find out together. You're looking at a man who once slept on cardboard because he didn't have a home. Today, that same man owns a $30 million mansion behind gates so exclusive, only ambassadors and billionaires live on his street. He's 47 years old. He's already made and spent more money than most of us will see in 10 lifetimes. And in a few weeks, he's stepping back into a boxing ring, not for the money this time, but for something that money can't buy: revenge. This is Manny Pacquiao. And by the time this video is over, you'll understand exactly how rich he really is, where every single dollar came from, and why, even with $220 million in the bank, there's one thing that still keeps him up at night. Let's get into it. Before you can understand how rich Manny Pacquiao is today, you have to understand how close he came to having absolutely nothing at all. You have to picture this: a teenage boy in General Santos City in the southern Philippines, so poor that finishing high school wasn't even an option. At 16 years old, while other kids were worrying about exams, this kid was already stepping into the ring, not for glory, not for a title, but because his family needed to eat. He wasn't chasing a dream at first, he was chasing survival. That's the part people forget when they see the mansions and the private planes later in this video. Every single dollar Manny Pacquiao has today traces back to a kid who had nothing, betting on his own 2 fists, because it was the only thing he had left to bet on. Here's what most people don't know: Pacquiao didn't just fight in one weight class and stay there like most boxers do. He started so small, so underweight, that trainers didn't even think his body would survive moving up in weight classes. Nobody, not one person in that gym, thought this kid would end up being the richest, most decorated boxer of his entire generation. But here's where it gets interesting, because what Pacquiao did next didn't just make him rich. It made him the only man to ever do something in boxing history that still hasn't been repeated to this day. This next fact alone is why Manny Pacquiao's bank account looks the way it does. Because he did something in the ring that literally no other boxer in history has ever managed to pull off. Manny Pacquiao is the only boxer ever to win world titles in 8 different weight divisions. 8, not 2, not 4, 8. Think about that for a second. That means he had to rebuild his entire body, his entire fighting style, over and over again, and still come out on top every single time. That record alone turned him from a regional fighter into a global brand. And global brands get paid like global brands. Over the course of his career, researchers estimate Pacquiao has earned somewhere between $575 million and $775 million in total fight-related income. That's purses, pay-per-view shares, and event bonuses, not counting a single endorsement deal. And one fight alone changed everything for him financially. In May of 2015, Pacquiao stepped into the ring against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in what's still called the fight of the century. It shattered pay-per-view records, 4.6 million buys, and set a live gate record of $72 million. Even though Pacquiao lost that fight by decision, his own payday from that single night is estimated at around $130 million. Let that sink in. He lost the fight and still walked away $130 million richer. But here's the part that stings. Pacquiao has said since then that he wasn't fighting at 100% that night, hampered by a shoulder injury. His own trainer, Freddie Roach, has spent years saying publicly that he believes Pacquiao could have knocked Mayweather out if he'd been fully healthy. That one loss has haunted him for over a decade. And in just a few weeks, at 47 years old, he's finally getting the one thing money never could buy him, a second chance. Here's where how rich is Manny Pacquiao stops being a number and starts being something you can actually see with your own eyes. Pacquiao didn't just stack cash, he built a real estate empire that spans 2 continents. Start in the Philippines. In Forbes Park, Makati City, one of the most exclusive guarded neighborhoods in the entire country, where ambassadors and tycoons live, Pacquiao and his wife own a 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom, 16,000 square foot mansion. It has its own pool, its own garden, a 4-car garage, and it's estimated to be worth over $30 million US. He bought it back in 2011 for roughly 388 million Philippine pesos in cash. Today, that same property has reportedly been valued at over 2.3 billion pesos. That's nearly a 6-fold increase. But that's just one house. In his hometown of General Santos City, locals call his second estate Pacman's Mansion, a Mediterranean-style property with 7 bedrooms, a private gym, a billiards room, an entertainment room, and even his own recording studio. Then there's what people call the White House, considered his single most expensive Philippine property, complete with a private, covered basketball court. And it doesn't stop there. Down in Sarangani province, along the shoreline of Gumasa Beach, Pacquiao owns a 14-bedroom beachfront mansion built right into a protected marine sanctuary. He also bought a home in Laguna for one simple, very human reason, so his sons could be close to their international school. Back when he was fighting Mayweather the first time, official government filings showed Pacquiao declared a personal net worth of over 3 billion pesos, including more than 100 real estate properties. 100 properties. From a kid who once had 0. And here's the twist that most people miss: Pacquiao didn't just spend this money to show off. Every property purchase lines up almost exactly with a milestone in his life. His Senate election, a title defense, his kids starting school. This wasn't random spending. This was a poor kid making sure his family would never ever go back to having nothing. But mansions and money aren't the full story. Because behind every one of these properties is a family, and the woman who's been by his side through all of it has her own story that might surprise you. You can't talk about how rich Manny Pacquiao is without talking about the woman who's been building this empire right alongside him since before he had a single dollar to his name. Manny married Jinkee back in 1999, years before any of the mansions, years before the record-breaking fights. She wasn't marrying a millionaire. She was marrying a broke teenage boxer with a dream. Today, Jinkee is a public figure in her own right. She served as vice governor of Sarangani province from 2013 to 2016, and she's become known worldwide for her personal collection of luxury pieces from brands like Hermes, Dior, and Louis Vuitton. The kind of collection that would make any fashion lover jealous. Together, Manny and Jinkee have 5 children: Jimuel, Michael, Princess, Queenie, and Israel. And here's something that shows just how far this family has come. Princess is currently studying at Royal Holloway, University of London. Queenie recently moved into her college dorm in Chicago. Their oldest son, Jimuel, is out in Los Angeles chasing his own boxing career, training to build a legacy of his own. Think about the distance between where this family started, a struggling household in southern Philippines, and where they are now. Kids studying in London and Chicago, living lives their father could never have imagined for himself at their age. But wealth and fame haven't made this family immune to real struggles. Publicly, Manny has acknowledged mistakes in his marriage over the years, and through all of it, Jinkee has remained by his side. It's a reminder that even with hundreds of millions of dollars, some things in life are still complicated, still human, still hard. And just when you think this story is only about boxing and business, Pacquiao made a decision that shocked an entire country, and it had nothing to do with punches thrown in a ring. Most rich athletes retire and disappear into their money. Manny Pacquiao did the opposite. He took his fame straight into the fire of national politics. After becoming a senator of the Philippines, Pacquiao made an even bigger move, announcing a run for president of the Philippines in 2021. He ultimately lost that election in 2022. For a man who had won at almost everything he ever tried, it was one of his most public defeats. But if there's one thing Pacquiao's entire life has proven, it's that he does not stay down. In July of 2025, at an age when most boxers have been retired for over a decade, Pacquiao stepped back into the professional ring against Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title. The fight ended in a majority draw, and it proved one thing to the entire boxing world: he still had something left.